All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get started here, so please grab a seat. All right, thanks again for coming up to the University of Mary. Again, my name is Shea Havens. Glad you all could make it here tonight. Thank you. How about this place? This place is really nice. Really nice. Honey, does Dickinson State have anything like this? I didn't think so. Probably going to hear about that one later on tonight. It's so appropriate that we spotlight our guest of honor tonight in this building. And not too long ago, this was the indoor track, and this building is where 46 conference titles and almost 400 All-Americans put in the time and effort under four-time National Coach of the Year, Mike Thorson. He'll be coming up to the hot seat here in just a minute. He's going to be in the hot seat in just a minute, but we've got to take care of a few things first. Well, we not only have a great group here tonight, but we are also streaming this on the web. We want to acknowledge those viewing online and welcome them back to the beautiful campus here at University of Mary. Everybody wave to Jared and Renee. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight, and we have some surprises too. And one of them is going to happen right now. So I'd like to introduce the University of Mary Athletic Director, Dale Lennon, to tell us more. Dale?
Thank you, JR. Welcome to the University of Mary. This is great to see what I'm looking at here. The track and field program, cross country, the legacy that you have left here at the University of Mary is strong and something that we're extremely proud of. And, you know, the thing that JR was talking about when Mike Thorson decided to step away and retire from track, I was asked the question, well, what are we going to do for him? We got to have something very special for him, and we've been honoring him, but we wanted something to really send him out with a bang. And that's where the thought of having a roast came to mind. And I approached Mike and asked him, is this something that he would be receptive to? And he said, well, you know, would anybody come? You know, I said, Mike, I think we'll get some people here. So this is our first roast within the athletic department. And it is something, too, that I want to make an annual event each year, bringing alumni groups back on campus and reconnecting with a group of people that have been very good to the university, have represented us in the field of competition, and have left a legacy here that we're extremely proud of. So we are building on that. And what JR was talking about, the big announcement, is tonight we're going to introduce the Mike Thorson endowment, the scholarship endowment. So what we want to do, and this is the challenge, let's give a round of applause on that. First of all, the setup here, there was no charge for admission, so we wanted to make sure we were open to anyone. We wanted to stream it to make sure that we can reach the track and field community. And what we have done, though, is that we've put some envelopes on your table. And what we're asking is with the envelope, there's just a simple form if you want to fill it out. If you want to donate to the Mike Thorson Endowment, which will result in an annual scholarship given to the track and field program, that'll be your option. And that's, again, we're just reaching out. He's left a legacy with many athletes, and we'd like to have something permanent in the athletic department that will be honored to a student athlete each year in their name. Now, the challenge of an endowment is that to make the endowment active, we're looking at raising $25,000. So that's a hefty amount of money, but we do feel that the support we have here in the room can basically step up to that challenge. But any type of gift that you can give would be appreciated. And plus, if you're online watching Streamline, if you want to donate, we even have that taken care of. You can go umary.edu/giving, and you'll be able to also make a donation to the Mike Thorson Endowment. Now, out front, you notice that we did have some items for sale. One being the T-shirt, the Mike Thorson Roast T-shirt, which on the front commemorates the event in itself, and then on the back has basically the record that Mike accomplished here at the University of Mary. So if this is something... If this is something you're interested in purchasing, we're asking $30 for that, and everything will be going to the Athletic Scholarship Fund. So everything that we receive tonight financially will be going into the endowment. The other thing that we'll have for sale too is the baton, all right, which is basically the University of Mary, Go Big Orange, Mike Thorson. So if this is something that you're interested in purchasing too, again, $30 is what we're asking. If you want to give more for it, please do. But these are the things that we're trying to do right now in the athletic department. Fundraise for athletic scholarships. Try to make sure that our programs are fully endowed athletically with the scholarships so that we can continue to produce the type of programs that we have in the past and even make it better. So thank you for your time here at the University of Mary and what you accomplished. We look to have continued relationships with you. Please be involved. Please come back for the events. We got something special going on here on campus, Vision 2030. We're on the grow. This is a very exciting time for the university. We need you. Be a part of it. All right? Go Marauders.
The university has some great things planned. Adam Motter, myself, and Caitlin Wernig and Coach Newell, we've been meeting beyond what we've been meeting with Mike Thorson stuff about, and we're really excited about that, so stay tuned. It's going to be a good thing for the university. Well, not too long after retiring, Coach Thorson passed the baton to his longtime assistant, Dennis Newell. Dennis is the current head cross-country and track coach here at the university, and he's going to step up and say a few words as well. Dennis?
I wrote a few things down. I was going to wing it, but then I thought I'd swear. And I'm sitting at Monsignor and Sister Thomas's table, and I was like, I better write some stuff down. So, and you're laughing because you know it's true. My first impression of Mike was as an athlete when I competed at Black Hill State University. And I remember him as a grumpy old man. From the time I first saw him at a track meet, I was like, he's just angry. He's just man, I don't know what the deal is, but he was always competitive, and he always had great teams, and his teams always had great character. There were always a few people, Brandon, Ralph, a few of you. But I just remember him as being a very stern and disciplined individual. And when I came to interview for the job, and I just told the story at my table, but I felt like I spent an hour of Mike trying to convince me not to take the position, about how bad it was going to be and how we weren't going to be successful. And I was just like, geez, I drove all the way out here from Springfield, Massachusetts to interview, and I didn't plan on that going that way. I thought he would sell the program, and man, we want you here, Dennis, and it was nothing of that. And so that same impression kind of stuck. I was like, man, he's just angry. And I was like, what's going on with this guy? And I took the job, so it's on me a little bit, but as I worked with him and got to know him, and I was around him a lot, I realized what he was really about. And he was a disciplined individual. He was all about accountability and ownership, and these things that we still hold true today in our program. And it's what made him great, is that he held people to a higher standard than they thought they were capable of. He did it for me. He did it for the student athletes that walked through these doors. I think he did it to the coaches that were around him. He's an educator. He's a teacher. He's a mentor. He's a guide. And he's very good at what he does. He's got a very good skill set, and that's people and relationships. A lot of times we say, he's a great coach. He's great with people. He can extract greatness out of people, out of human beings. And he's done that with probably everybody in this room. And that's probably the thing I'm most grateful of. I know when he had talked about retirement, I had a few people tell me, do not follow a legend. That could be a problem for you, Dennis. And I never viewed it that way. First of all, he built such a great program, I knew I could ride his coattails for at least 6-7 years. So I figured by the time they got around to firing me, I'd be pretty successful. So, but he really creates opportunities for other people. He created opportunities for me that I'll be grateful for the rest of my life, not just as a coach, but he's made me a better human being, a better father, a better husband. And he showed me how to do this career and still be an active parent and be a great husband. And that's probably the biggest thing I'm grateful for, is that I'm finding a way to balance my personal life and my coaching life. And that meant a lot to me because, it's tough. We all know that. So I appreciate that, Coach. He's a true servant leader. He's always given back. And he's given a lot to everybody in this room. And so, Mike, I just want to thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for me and for everybody in this room. But words cannot express how grateful I am. And, the best part about all of this is our friendship. So, thank you.
I worked with Mike more than he coached me, and I can definitely agree, Dennis. He did seem grumpy at times. I would go up to him at a track meet and say, hey, Coach, you guys won the last meet last weekend by 200 points. You had 3 national qualifiers and, a lot of PRs. Yeah, we didn't perform very well. Well, Coach Thorson started coaching here in 1994, and in that time he had 3 athletic directors and 2 presidents of this university watching his success. We are honored to have both of those presidents with us tonight to reflect on Coach Thorson's career here. First of all, President Emerita of the University of Mary, Sister Thomas Welder.
Thank you. Thank you so much. People ask me what emerita means, and I honestly tell you it means old. But I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you very much. I'm going to start out by saying it seems strange, and this is history, that a group of Catholic Benedictine sisters who were called to monastic life, prayer, service, work, decided to start a college in the 1950s, when really many small private colleges at that time were closing. But it seems that by their prayer, God was continually coming back again and again to needs larger than their own. North Dakota needed a 4-year Catholic Benedictine college right here. But I can think of something stranger. How is it that we come together in Founders Hall tonight to pour accolades on one of the world's most modest people? A coach who has avoided attention and any kind of claim his entire life. I'm guessing that it was under great protest that Michael Thorson consented to this event. And much of it, I think, was a little bit like those founding sisters. He gave in, because it's about something bigger than himself. It's about the miracles that happen when we listen to God's call. It's about a leader who serves as Jesus served, selflessly. It's about the student athletes learning to trust each other into a team, learning to believe in themselves because their coach believed in them first. It's about the spiritual force that emanates from a school like the University of Mary. Now I'll give you a little more history. Track and field and cross country began here at Mary in 1982-83. And from the beginning, some of the most ardent fans of the Marauders were the sisters. And from time to time, sometimes unwillingly, one or the other would get caught participating. Let me give you an example. Sister Bridget Dunn, one of our founding sisters, who was probably retirement age at the time, was heading to the monastery. She was still working 40 hours a day, but heading on the path right out here overlooking the river, and suddenly she could hear this running behind her, and then she could hear this kind of heavy breathing, and pretty soon there were these runners passing her on the right and the left at just terrific speeds. She was terribly upset about the whole thing because nobody had ever passed her on that path, ever. So later, I explained to Sister Bridget, I said, look, we got caught in this thing, and we had to convert your path into actually a track, because we had a conference cross-country meet, and we needed a track. I think, Sister Bridget, your times might have put you into the conference meet itself. And she kind of gave in, and later it became one of her favorite memories. Mike Thorson came to the University of Mary about 10 years later, as JR just mentioned, in '94. And I will tell you this, the facilities hadn't improved that much. But the mission and the Benedictine values were part of the culture. And it seemed that Mike Thorson's playbook picked up on the tone of the rule of St. Benedict. Although Benedict lived centuries ago, he has something to say about the balanced life. If body, mind, and spirit make the whole person, then we need to make time in our schedule to reflect that. There should be time for prayer and work. There should be time for study and practices like physical activity. But how many of us really do it? I should have us raise hands here. Coach Thorson, says a colleague, cuts himself no slack. No matter if it is a blizzard, rain, darkness, ice, sounds a lot like this April, or when traveling with the team, Coach Thorson runs every morning. And I should add, he's a bit of a germ phobe. Here's his mantra to the student athletes: don't touch railings. Don't touch public surfaces. Don't get sick. Before the building of the Leach Fieldhouse, Coach Thorson convinced his student athletes that the track on Hegelholz Field was built for all seasons. So in early spring, it was not unusual to see him out there with some of his athletes clearing off the snow, trying to find the track. Thorson's work ethic is legendary. By example, he was teaching his student athletes the paramount importance of hard work, of consistent training, of sustained excellence, and of striving for the goal. In a highly individualistic society where self comes first, by example, Coach Thorson was teaching that the ultimate responsibility of the leader is service. By example, he was challenging his students to see that team meant supporting each other with encouragement and respect, and that building community could change the world. Some of us remember, and some of you will remember, the women's indoor and outdoor track team embracing a group of Special Olympic athletes. And that year, those students ran with their Special Olympic friends together in the 1998 Marauder Open. By example, Coach Thorson was holding up the great truth that we are all brothers and sisters, alike in human spirit and different in our unique gifts. So, what do we know about the successes, the records broken, the Coach of the Year awards of our honoree? Not much. Thank goodness for that t-shirt. Here's how it would go at Coach's luncheons. Many of you have been there. He'd spend the first 5 minutes expressing thanks to absolutely everyone. He'd special mention of his assistant coaches, and then in the next 5 minutes, he might have a student speak, or he'd set in motion his expectations for each student athlete competing in the next meet. He knew them. He knew their strengths and weaknesses, and he believed they could reach the pinnacle. And then when it got near the end, he'd get into that motivational tone, go Big Orange, and Coach Thorson would be gone. But Coach Thorson isn't gone. Some months ago, some of us were giving a tour to one of our benefactors, and we were over at the new field house looking down at the track. And our guest was singing the praises of Mike Thorson, the coach, who had brought the University of Mary to national acclaim through cross country and track and field. And he went on and on about Mike, and it was touching. And then there was this something of a pause, and he looked down in the track. He said, "Who's that down there putting up the hurdles?" In subtle, quiet ways, Mike Thorson continues to serve. His influence will extend far into the future through you, through the long procession of cross-country and track and field alum. Servant leaders, you are servant leaders who serve with competence and compassion. You are servant leaders who are building community wherever you are. I think this Arabic proverb captures the Thorson legacy. We will set our faces to the wind and scatter a handful of seeds into the wind. It is no big thing to scatter seeds to make the beginnings, but we must have the courage to keep facing the wind. Anne, we thank you for your great generosity in sharing Mike with us all these years, and I know you continue to share him with us. And to both of you, we thank you, we love you, and we pray for you.
Thank you, Sister Thomas. All right, I'd like to talk about the current president of the University of Mary now. Monsignor James Patrick Shea was inaugurated in 2009 as the 6th president of the university, and at the age of 34 became the youngest college or university president in the United States. He succeeded Sister Thomas Welder, who had served as president for 31 years. The oldest of 8 children, Monsignor Shea grew up on a dairy and grain farm not too far from here in Hazleton, North Dakota, about 38 miles from here. He began his undergraduate work at Jamestown College, majoring in English and history. He then entered the seminary for the Diocese of Bismarck. He earned a bachelor's degree and pontifical master's degree in philosophy at the Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C. He studied classical Greek at the University of Texas at Austin and continued at the Vatican's North American College, studying theology at the Gregorian and Lateran universities in Rome. He has studied management at the University of Chicago's Graduate School of Business and is also an alumnus of the Institutes for Higher Education at the Graduate School of Education, Harvard University. Monsignor Shea has worked with Mother Teresa's Missionaries of Charity at the Gift of Peace AIDS Hospice while teaching religion at 2 inner-city elementary schools in Washington, D.C. In Rome, he served as chaplain for the Bambino Gesù Children's Hospital and also at the Rome campus of the Center for Catholic Studies at the University of St. Thomas. Following his ordination to the priesthood in 2002, he returned to North Dakota and served as an associate pastor in Bismarck and Mandan. During that time, he was also the chaplain and an instructor at St. Mary's Central High School right here in Bismarck. He then served as pastor to parishes in Killdeer and Halliday, North Dakota, while teaching at Trinity High School in Dickinson. Deeply committed to the education and formation of young people, he has been an inspirational teacher and mentor for many students. Monsignor Shea is a Knight Commander of the Holy Sepulchre of Jerusalem and serves on the Board of Directors for Focus, the Fellowship of Catholic University Students. He has served on the National Advisory Council to the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops and the Governor's Commission on Education Improvement for the state of North Dakota. Monsignor is also a trustee of St. John Vianney Seminary in Denver and a member of the Executive Committee of the Board for the Association of Benedictine Colleges and Universities. Ladies and gentlemen, Monsignor James Patrick Shea.
JR, thanks very much. I fell asleep 3 times while you were reading that biography. I want to thank you and all the people who were responsible for putting together this fantastic event to very worthily honor Coach Mike Thorson. We're really thrilled. And to all of you who are joining us online as well, know that there's a lot of joy and a lot of gratitude in the room, and I know that that spreads all around the country and indeed all around the world because of the impact that Coach Thorson has made. Coach Newell, you talked just a moment ago about what it's like to follow a legend, but you don't know anything. You don't know anything about that. The one thing we know for sure about Sister Thomas Welder is nobody can stand her. See, this proves the point that I'm about to make right now. They told me when they asked me to speak, they said, we put you between Sister Thomas and the roast because that way everybody would forget everything that you would say. And they said, make sure that you know this. You're not asked to do any of the roast. In other words, you're not funny. And we're not looking for you to talk for very long either. And I said to Sister Janet, who was briefing me on this, I said, who are these bossy people, and are they on payroll? If I were to do a roast, I'd tell you that I first met Coach Thorson from a very long way away. I was a brand new priest at the cathedral parish, and Mike and Ann and their family would come to Mass at the cathedral. But they would sit... They would sit in the very back, no, not of the church. They would sit in the very back of the choir loft, in the very tippy-top back of the church. And I'd sit up there because I was bored with my homilies. And so I would sit up there while I was speaking at the pulpit, and of course I have bad teeth but very good eyes. And I would watch this family up there going to Mass all together. And that's how I met Mike. In the years since I've come to the University of Mary, of course, I've come to admire him quite a bit and to see the influence that he's had on generations of our student athletes at the University of Mary, many of whom are here tonight. It's an amazing thing for me to watch the influence of coaches on students and how deep and profound that influence and that inspiration, that care that young people who have great talents but need assistance and guidance in directing those talents to greatness, the difference that coaches make, the difference that somebody like Mike Thorson makes, is a difference not only in time, it's also a difference in eternity. Dr. Stanley Azurda was the president of St. Ben's out in Minnesota from 1968 to 1974. And they called him Brother Stan. He was so well loved by the sisters at St. Benedict's Monastery in St. Joseph that they made him an honorary member of the Benedictine community out there. He died just a few years ago at the age of 93. But Brother Stan, Dr. Azurda, once gave a controversial speech. He gave it at a little college in Kansas called St. Mary of the Plains, which closed the year after he spoke. That's the effect sometimes of college presidents speaking. So he gave this controversial speech, and this is what he said. He said, faculty on university campuses tend to think that they're the ones who really have the deepest influence upon students, but really they're third or fourth. That's why it was so controversial. But he said, it's indisputable that those who have the deepest influence are coaches. Are coaches. You can see why that would be controversial, and I don't want to take sides in such a battle, but I will say this. Every single darn year, every year, when I have the privilege and honor of being part of our Hall of Fame induction banquet here on this campus, every year student athletes come back. Sometimes they've been gone from here for 20, 30, 40 years. And they come back and they speak about their time on the field or on the court or on the mat, out on the track. They talk about their time as an athlete at Mary College or at the University of Mary, and then they speak about their coaches. And they talk about their coaches as though they changed their lives forever. And I thought for a long time, why would that be? What's that all about? And I have a theory. I think it's because those coaches change their lives forever. Because it's true. Because the influence and the depth of the inspiration, the greatness that coaches who are truly great, coaches like Mike Thorson, what they draw out of young women and men is so extraordinary that it impacts not just their performance and the honor that they're able to win, it impacts everything about their lives. It impacts the way that they interact in the communities that they move to after they graduate. It interacts the type of colleagues they are in their workplaces. It influences deeply the kind of moms and dads that they become. Everything about their character is shaped and formed by the discipline, the teamwork, the camaraderie, the sense of achievement which those coaches draw out of them. And everybody, don't you agree? Don't you agree with us that in Mike Thorson, we have someone who is a coach and a servant and a leader, all together? Sister Thomas always reminds us that to serve is to lead, and to serve young people and to assist them in having direction for their lives is a tremendous act of service. That means it's an act of leadership as well. Leadership also, everybody, leadership also is achieving one's own greatness by bringing out the greatness in others, by bringing out the greatness of others. And in order to do that, in order to truly become great by bringing out the greatness of others, it takes commitment. It takes investment. That never happens to the kinds of people who go from place to place, always looking for the next advancement, the next promotion, the next opportunity. But for those who make a decision that here's something that I'm going to do that's worth a season or the whole of my life, and there are people here who depend upon me, and so I'm going to be there for them come what may, that kind of commitment, which is so rare in a world in which everything's moving from place to place, that kind of commitment plants the foundation for greatness. I'll tell you something about the University of Mary. The world isn't fair. It's not fair because we here have had more than our fair share of people like that. In the life of the University of Mary, among teachers, faculty, among our staff and administrators, in the lives of the sisters who are stable and have committed to this place, and in exemplary coaches, not only of the past, but I'm telling you, if you're coming back to this campus, the coaches on this campus right now, caring for our student athletes are as good as they've ever been. We have extraordinary coaches, and this institution has had more than our fair share of people who are willing to make a commitment, dig in, and make it happen. And that's what it takes. And I'll tell you, everybody, for a quarter of a century in Mike Thorson, we had one of the best coaches in the United States of America here in North Dakota. And so, Mike, we want to thank you for everything you meant to all the students who we entrusted to your care. We had such confidence in you because you had confidence in them. And as you and Ann enjoy your family here tonight, who have all come back and who have rallied around you, as you look out at your extended family, young men and women who now are a little older than they used to be, maybe not as fast anymore, but who are making a difference, alumni of this college, of this university, out in the world, may that legacy, which is so strong and so great, may that last forever. We know it will. Everybody, one of the great people in the world, Coach Mike Thorson.
Thank you, Monsignor Shea. I can relax now. Coach Lennon, I know why you wanted to go first. Great speakers. Thank you, Sister Thomas and Monsignor Shea, and thank you for your hospitality here this evening. It's really appreciated. All right. We'd like to introduce our guest of honor now, Coach Mike Thorson. Coach, it's time to come up and take your spot in the hot seat. There's a microphone there. Don't be afraid to use it. Make sure it's on. There's other microphones up here as well for our roasters. So I'm going to introduce them right now. First of all, from Cavalier, North Dakota, Lisa Rollefstad. She graduated in 1997. Lisa, come on up. Next, Cindy Thompson from Mandan. She graduated in 1998. Cindy. No salad on that one. Another athlete from Mandan, Mandy Sheldon. She graduated in 1999. Mandy. From Havre, Montana, a 2001 graduate, Adam Motter. Adam? I'll go into more detail on each athlete as the night goes on, so we're just getting them up here. Next up, Rob Brandt from Bismarck. He graduated in 2002. Rob? And finally, the pride of McCall, Idaho, Tony Wood, 2008 graduate. All right. I've been told, go ahead and have a seat, folks. I've been told that Lisa and Cindy are going to go first. They're going to kind of team up. So I'll tell you a little bit about each of them right now. Lisa Rollefstad, as I mentioned, from Cavalier, North Dakota. She graduated in 1997, a two-time All-American. She ran the leadoff leg of the Marauders NAIA fifth place outdoor All-American 4x1 relay team, conference outdoor 100-meter champion, and she went on to coach at UND and Ferris State. And get this, one of her athletes actually qualified for the Olympic trials. Next up, Cindy Thompson, graduated in 1998. Pretty much did everything, sprints, jumps, you name it. She was an All-American, an academic All-American, and was Mike Thorson's first national champion at the University of Mary in the pentathlon, and also a UMary Hall of Fame member. Ladies, the stage is yours.
right, well, we're going to start with a few fun questions, but we also knew, and we really wanted to make sure we took care of you. So we also came up with a few new possible career choices for Coach to keep him busy in his retirement. So we'll make sure to include those as well. So Lisa will kick it off.
All right, first of all, I want to remind everyone tonight that we are on Big Orange time. Okay. And Coach, just to make you more comfortable there, because we know this probably is not easy for you, since you always have a binder with you at all times, here's your binder. I don't think he goes anywhere without a binder. He's got a folder tonight. Hey, you can put that in your binder. Let's start off with a question first. All right, we want a show of hands?
Show of hands, yep. So A,
All right.
B, C, or D.
All right, I'll read the question and then I'll read you the answers and then we'll ask for to raise your hand for each one. At a 5-star restaurant, Coach Thorson would order what? Option A is spaghetti and meatballs. B is a slice of Hawaiian pizza. C is mai mai. Do you know what that is, Coach? Okay. Or D, a plain hamburger. Oh, D, all right.
Just a burger. No leaf, no lettuce, nothing on it, nothing. Plain burger. Why is that so hard to understand?
All right, one more food-related question. Coach Thorson's drink of choice would be A, Mountain Dew, B, a skinny, sugar-free double-shot vanilla latte, C, chocolate milk, or D, a frosty mug of root beer. Hey.
Like the guy didn't need any more caffeine.
So,
You were always such a great example of a healthy diet.
So Ann, our first job option for him, we have several tonight, but we wanted to leave some options over here. So the first one would be a food critic. You know, we got the plain hamburger. To go along with this, I have a nice hamburger story. I don't even remember where we were. We were traveling somewhere to some meet. We stopped to eat at a Perkins. Do you remember this? Yes. I'm sure he does. And this was, I don't know if Perkins does bread bowls anymore, but this was when bread bowls were popular too. So a bunch of us were ordering bread bowls with salads or whatever in them, and Coach was ordering his hamburger. The lady proceeds to come back and tell us that they were out of bread bowls. And he couldn't figure out why they would be out of bread bowls because it's a staple on their menu. Then she brings him his hamburger and proceeds to tell him that they ran out of buns, so it's on a piece of bread. And he proceeded to explain to her what a plain hamburger was, and that bread is not acceptable on a plain hamburger. And that's the short version of that story. You can fill in the blanks.
Beep. All right, Coach, I remember when I first was recruited or first came to campus, and our second career option for you is interior design. So when I first came in 94, 95, I think the track and field outside of Coach's office, at that time was in the corner down in the basement, was a bulletin board. within about, I don't know, maybe a second season, it kind of had progressed off the bulletin board and onto the wall. Another year, I think we took over, I think Coach Shea, the football coach, was next to you. We kind of took over his space. And then I think pretty much the whole athletic department had either track and field workouts, clippings, whatever needed to be up on that wall. So Lisa was kind enough to.
Just in case you need some color palettes, these would have been the workouts that would have been posted all over the hallway. As you can see, there are multiple colors. Each distance has their own color. Sprinters, jumpers, hurdlers, they all have their own. So.
And a Rima paper. So, Anne, if you have an open wall in the house, he may start at home.
Yeah. We started with white, so hopefully that's better than the multicolor.
Us jumpers, we did not need a workout. No, we did our own thing, right, Yates?
Our next job for Coach Thorson would be teaching driver's ed. Yeah. Everyone who has driven with Coach knows his driving skills, so we think he would be excellent at teaching people how to drive. And so our next thing on teaching driver's ed was, so Cindy and I come from the time when there wasn't this nice facility. There was no indoor. There was just a gym. So Thor's, being the creative person that he is, thought it would be nice to let's just pile everyone in a van when it's snowing and blizzarding out, and let's just drive down the hill, and we'll just drop you off, and you can run your intervals down by Sibley Park.
With the wind.
Yes. He was kind enough to do it with the wind. Thanks. Appreciate it. Well, anyway, since everyone had different intervals, the long sprinters, short sprinters, everyone had something a little bit different, he could be known to drive ahead to the next group, come back. So, about every 10 minutes you could expect to see him with the window rolled down, yelling something at you. But this one particular time, we kept running, and everyone was like, we haven't seen Thors in a while. And then we met another group. Did you guys see Thors? Nope. So we started to head back to where we had been dropped off and found the van kind of slid a little bit into the ditch, maybe. Yep. And so we so kindly pushed you out of the ditch that day. Yes. You're welcome. And he still made us go to the weight room as much as I begged and pleaded that we probably didn't need to after pushing the van, but. So, good luck, drivers.
The next career option, we talked about Walmart greeter. Again, he's kind of angry. So we decided that wouldn't work. So the next job that came to mind was, we thought he could be a bag boy at the grocery store. So I am positive that I have done more grocery shopping with Coach Thorson than my husband. So many a times when we would show up at a meet, the first place we'd go, or the night before we check into the hotel, we'd go to the grocery store. So we were somewhere in South Dakota, and we go into the grocery store. So I wanted to make sure we brought you the staples. If anyone can still eat turkey lunch meat. I brought you some turkey. Bananas. A loaf of bread. Still can't eat granola bars. No granola bars. Some mustard, no mayo. Mayo would spoil, so just mustard. But the best part about this story is here is this, I'm pretty sure his parents gave him a work permit to start at the grocery store. So here's this young young guy who's just starting out, all happy to see us, and we come up with the cart. Again, here's Grumpy. And sweet Renee Perry, one of my teammates who's elementary education, we're standing there, and the kid asks us, "Did you guys find everything okay?" And Coach looks at him, he's like, "Boxes, do you have any boxes?" And he's looking at him, he's like, "Do you mean for sale? You want to buy some?" No, boxes to put this stuff in. We need to put the groceries in. And the kid is baffled. He has no idea what he's talking about. And he's like, "We want to put all this stuff in boxes." And he's like, and so sweet Renee is explaining, "Coach, he wants boxes that maybe you got freight in the morning. Do you have anything like that?" And the kid goes, "Oh, no, we put those all in the crusher." And Thorson said, "Well, I'd like to crush you." The poor kid quit the next day.
There was enough of us to carry the groceries out in bags. All right, well, our next job opportunity for you might be as a firefighter, since you seem to be able to handle the heat. So, as many of you may know, you need to wear your sweats when you're warming up. No matter if you're in Atlanta, Georgia for nationals and it's like 113 on the track. And I'm pretty sure you know that I sweat just looking at exercise. But unless you have sweat running down, you know what, people in this room, you need to have your sweats on. So I think most of us have probably taken that with us and used that line several times in our coaching careers also.
All right, Coach. I'm going to keep it clean. One of the outside people that chimed in on a Facebook feed asked if, Monsignor Shea, would you be offering confession after this? So just in case. So Coach Shea was the football coach that was at University Mary back in the old days when we were here. And if you know the original gym, and there were 2 classrooms, and the weight room was all in one wing. Well, Coach was wise enough, so this was fall, we just started practices. We were probably 1 week, again, freshmen were scared to death, angry man. We'd all come in there and he'd kind of tell us what was going on. He'd shut the door, and I don't know what we must have done for a workout yesterday, but we'll just say the language got a little colorful. So we go down to the track, and we're on the high jump surface, and Coach Shea, the football players didn't have a very good practice that day either. Well, Coach Shea didn't recognize that the women's track team was warming up on the side of the track, and no surprise to us, he used the same colorful language that Coach had just used in our meeting. So the next day, we all had to gather back in the room for a little practice meeting, and here comes Coach Shea. He walks into the room, head down, and offered the women's track team one of the most sincere apologies about the way he had handled himself, speaking to his team out on the track. But we're all sitting there like, what is he doing? So we kind of sat there, and he went through this nice apology, and Coach, I'm still waiting like 20-some years. You've never apologized to me. So, Coach, for your career there, we thought that it might be fitting for you to teach English as a second language. Should we do our other question?
Oh,
So,
yep.
some of those motivational things that Coach would often be heard saying. So again, A, B, C, or D. Coach could often be heard saying, "Come hell or high water." Good thing we're on top of a hill. If you cheat on the track, you cheat on your significant other. Or C, that would be a mockery of the sport. Or D, all of the above. Oh no, it's the mockery of the sport. And there she is.
answer actually is D, but yes. Those were just a few we picked. One of the other ones that we thought of was, since we have these really long bus trips all the time, Kansas, Missouri, wherever, just always on the bus. And Cindy and I were back before the times of these nifty little devices. These didn't exist really when we didn't have these to, be tweeting and whatever else we do on these. So we had to entertain ourselves with movies. So Thors was nice enough to let us pick out our own movies, and I got to be that person that got to pick those out. But if we were going to have any sappy, girly, whatever type of movies, we always had to counter that with a Steven Seagal movie. Steel Magnolias, followed by Steven Seagal. Great combo. So we thought that maybe you could be a movie critic.
And then again, before the era that I think he fell in love with pizza, and in due honor of why we chose buffet, if anyone here had eaten at a buffet with Coach Thorson, raise your hand. And I almost called him the day that I found out the Royal Fork closed in Bismarck, because I was really, really worried. So the next career choice, so anywhere we go, old time, I cannot eat at a buffet. I have so many food issues after running here. I still can't eat at a buffet to this day. But we thought that if there is still a buffet that exists, maybe the China Garden or something, your next career would be refilling. You could refill the buffet.
All right, well, moving on, we have one more career option that you can potentially choose from. Again, not having the nice facility and having to come up with these creative things such as pool workouts, which, by the way, the pool doesn't exist. It's now the bookstore. When did that happen? So, sorry, guess you guys can't experience those at 6:30 in the morning.
On a Friday after Thirsty Thursdays.
With Coach standing on the diving board yelling at you, asking you, French silk pie today, last night? No, Coach, it was banana cream yesterday, actually, thanks. Or we had the nice smooth tartan surface on the gym. Now we have the nice hardwood floor surface in the gymnasium. There was also the wonderful Priory Hill workouts. Thank you. Middle of winter, ice on it, doesn't matter. Get up it. But I think one of my most favorite ones was, I think it may have been one of our first years, and I think it probably was. But anyway, it was cold and nasty, and we needed somewhere to do relay exchanges, and most of you probably don't remember where the bookstore used to be. That was down the hallway where the student union used to be. Those of you who are Air will remember this.
It was a janitor's closet, basically.
Basically, that's what the bookstore was. But there was this long hallway, and Coach was like, all right, I need you guys to meet me down by the bookstore at 9 p.m. to do relay exchanges in the hallway, because there won't be anyone in the hall at that time. So there we were, relay exchanges down the hallway.
And if you were in the gym with the smooth tartan surface, we could also run on a diagonal, because you could get 5 more meters in on a sprint. So that was a big deal. And in the meantime, the baseball cages were down on one side. So you had baseballs zipping by you on one side, hurdlers down the middle, and then shot putters shotting on the other side. So it was like an all-out obstacle course. But we found a way. So if any of you, Joanna Gaines and Chip, the last season finale of the Fixer-Upper this week. So, Coach, we thought you could be a house flipper, like a track fixer-upper. You could start your own HGTV reality TV series of how to turn any type of facility into a way that you could get a decent workout.
But actually, in all seriousness, we would like to thank you for everything that you have done for us. All of the opportunities that you've given us, we wouldn't be able to do some of the, or go some of the places and do some of the things that we have done without your support and guidance. So we want to thank you. But I also have one more story. I don't remember if you remember the first time we met in person. I'll jog your memory. So my first year was Coach Thorson's first year, so he actually didn't recruit me. He was at UND at the time, so it was like one of the first days that we got onto campus, and we were going to go down and meet Coach. And I remember walking down the hallway to his office, and the very first thing he says to me is, "What in the heck are you doing here?" And I said, "What?" And he goes, "You told me you were going to Jamestown." And I said, "Well, I really didn't want to go to UND, so I just picked out whatever school because I didn't want to talk to you anymore." But anyway, it was really great that we both ended up here for multiple reasons. And another quote that I use a lot, I still teach some classes, but another great one that I use with all my coaching students is know your sport and to become a student of your sport. And I think that was important. And for all those athletes that I have coached and had All-Americans and my javelin throwers, who would have thought that I would have had a 7-foot high jumper and a javelin thrower throw that far. But it's because you said you need to become a student of your sport. So thank you.
And my final comment, Coach, is I know you were worried about people coming, so were we. So first we called in Sister Thomas, so that boosted the numbers, and then we offered free booze. So, so Coach, you recruited me. I was part of your first real recruiting class. And I said it was coming, and then I said, just kidding, guess not. You fool. I called you and I begged you to take me back after I had gone D1 and tried the big time for a bit. And I pleaded and begged for you to take me back, and you were dumb enough to. So you had your chance to not give me a second chance, but you did. And for that, I'm forever grateful. You tell it like it is, and your timing and delivery are spot on, not only with the Thors one-liners, but in your coaching. You always knew what we needed to hear. Sometimes it was dead silence, which was scary. Sometimes it was a little sympathy, and sometimes, of course, it was a good old beep chewing. So I'm proud of the many accomplishments while I was here at University of Mary, but I'm most proud to say that I was part of Thors's team, and that we put University of Mary track and field on the map, both NAIA, and then later for all of you for NCAA. So Coach, forever grateful. Thank you. Go Big Orange.
That's good stuff. Coach, I think you should be an interior decorator, personally. That's good stuff. Thanks again, ladies. All right, our next roaster is also from Mandan, Mandy Sheldon. She graduated in 1999, a 4-time national champion and 11-time All-American. She still holds the national record in the indoor pentathlon for the high jump. She has school records in the hurdles, high jump, and pentathlon. A member of the Marauder Hall of Fame, she was inducted along with Coach Thorson and Al Bortke into the NAIA Hall of Fame in 2005. She considers that her highest honor. Ladies and gentlemen, Mandy Sheldon.
So I have to follow Cindy, which, like in life, this always happens to me. Anyway, I don't have nearly the amount of funny stories that my fellow roasters have, But in the 2 years that I spent running for Coach Thorson here at University of Mary, I did learn that he had a very motivating presence. While be it untraditional at times, he really made us be the best that we could be. From those early morning hurdle workouts in the activity center to the Priory Hills and every day on that frozen track, Coach Thorson, you made us want to be here. The dedication that you showed definitely filtered down to your athletes. During the months we spent planning this roast, I took on a new adventure in the sport of track and field. I accepted a coaching job at Mandan High, assisting with jumps and hurdles. I know many of his former athletes are coaches, and I think that's great. But after the season began, I soon found out I was going to have some coaching competition. Dave Zittleman, hi Dave, he's watching, now the athletic director at Bismarck Public Schools, informed me he just hired Coach Thorson as the new hurdle coach at BHS. So great, right? I get to coach now against the greatest teacher of all times. So talk about motivation. Here it was again. He is again motivating me now to be a better coach, which I've never done before. And I've texted him many times, by the way. Coach, what do you think of this? Should I take this job? Yeah, you'll be great. 2 weeks later, well, I'm coaching at BHS now. Coach Thorson, it was truly an honor to run for you. I think everyone can agree you have a very unique way of communicating and a very honest approach. Congratulations on creating such a legacy at the University of Mary. It will be fun seeing you at many track meets in the future. And never forget, go Big Orange.
Thank you, Mandy. Our next roaster is Adam Matter from Havre, Montana. He graduated in 2001, a two-time conference champion, three-time All-American, all of them in the high jump. He was also a team captain his senior year, and he was also a coach in the high jump from 2002 to 2007. Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Matter.
Well, according to Rob, this is a bad look. I got paper out here. So on our way out here, he tried to throw it out the window. He didn't know why I'd have to write everything down on a piece of paper. I should be able to just come up with it in memory. But I'm not used to talking in front of 200 plus people. But according to Coach, it was only going to be about 70 people. As you know, he didn't think anybody were going to come up here and see him. But little do you know, Kevin didn't tell you the truth. But the first reaction, probably about a month ago, he was making copies, and he ran into Kevin Becker, who planned this whole event. So Kevin, thank you. Yep. So he asked Kevin how many people were you expecting, and at that time I think he told him the same number. And Coach Thorson had a few choice words. You know, he was a little nervous about it. I won't repeat those words. But then, you know, a week later, it was the same number that he told him. And his voice didn't change, his demeanor didn't change. He was actually accepting of 70 people. So I don't think you realize the impact that you've had on everybody. So that's why we're seeing, you know, well over 200 plus people here. So thank you, Coach. And I must say, I'm really glad I didn't follow Cindy and Lisa. So thank you, Mandy. Yeah. I don't know how you can follow that, so yeah.
We had to work with old school. Yeah. We take with what we got.
Yeah. So I ran out of stories because of that. Thank you. Yeah. But what an honor it is to be here tonight amongst, you know, former athletes, former teammates, current athletes here as well. I'm getting pretty old, so you current athletes, you really look young. So I'm losing my hair. I mean, it's going downhill fast for me. So, but we gather here together to honor a great man. In my personal opinion, I'm sure most of you guys agree, arguably one of the best coaches of all time. I think if any college around the nation wanted a track and field coach, cross country coach, Coach Thorson would be that person. There's not too many programs that can say, you know, 385 All-Americans, 47 conference championships. I don't know if there's anybody that can say that. So I hope you guys realize, what he has done, and I know you guys do. That's why you're here. So again, thank you, Coach. It also was a great honor to not only be one of his athletes, but to be able to coach alongside him for 6 years. I thought I learned a lot from him, and he was our coach for 2.5 years. Rob will speak to that, I guess, on how that happened. But I still remember my sophomore year, us jumpers, as I mentioned earlier, we practiced real hard. And I remember being in the gym. It was myself, Shane Yates, Darren Berger. Our practice was a dunk contest. And I remember Coach Thorson not being too happy about that. And this was still the indoor season, and our coach resigned there at the end of the indoor season, and I'm like, I don't want him to coach. He's an angry man, like you said, Coach Newell. But, I couldn't be happier. And then to coach alongside him, some of his teachings, still today, with my wife, with my kids, I learned a lot from him. So I pass that along to my kids. Some of it maybe my wife doesn't like, maybe some of the few choice words, but I pass it along. So, but I appreciate that. We are the lucky ones to be able to have been your athletes, coached alongside you if you were assistant coach. A lot of us former athletes back then were assistant coaches. So it was great to learn from you. There's not much more I guess I can say about that. But I'll move on, I guess, to a few stories here. So I'll get away from the sappy stuff. So, but I will say one thing. I am glad I'm speaking in front of you, Rob. I know you read my speech beforehand. Originally, I was going to bring a stool up here because I didn't think Rob could reach the mic. These are tall. They are. He might have to bring that chair up here. Yeah. But I also noticed, though, as I was using the men's restroom, we're here. We're all, you're college athletes. You know where this is going, don't you? We're all 18 plus. We're all adults here. But I go into the men's restroom and there's a little kid's urinal. Now I know why Rob's out here. So, I'm sorry. I apologize, Rob. I still like you. You probably don't like me now, but I might hear a few things once you come up. So, wrap it up. Yep. All right. So my first year, it was about my second year of coaching. Thorson had a recruit coming to campus. And when I'm done this, you might remember who that recruit was. I can't remember, and maybe they came here. But I remember, yeah, that's bad, I know. But I remember talking about the recruit and his family coming. It was a male, I remember that. His family coming and everything. And so I had to come out to campus and show him around campus, his family. Try to, obviously convince them to come here, not only as an athlete, but a student athlete as well. Convince them on the education, what type of track program we had, and everything. So I come out to campus that morning at about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I'm coming down. It was still the narrow hallway with everything along the walls, and I see Ann kind of go right into Coach's office, and my mind's kind of turning. I'm like, well, what's Ann doing out here? What's going on? So I come and I turn into the office, and here she's putting makeup on Coach Thorson's face. And he's got his back turned to me, so I'm really wondering, what is going on here? Is it Halloween? I don't know. But, so Coach turns, and it looked like he just got the bleep kicked out of him the night before. He had scrapes on his face, he had a cut on his nose, and he was missing half of his front tooth. And at that point, I feel really bad for him. I'm like, well, what happened? Well, as you heard earlier tonight, he likes to go on his early morning runs. It's a staple. He does it every morning. Well, that morning he was out running along River Road, which is his typical route there. And as he was running, it was still dark out, he catches a cinder block. And you might be able to speak to this, but before he knew it, he couldn't catch himself. He hit the ground. Well, needless to say, that's why he was getting makeup put on. I know I can say if that was me, I don't know if I'd be coming out to campus. He could have easily passed that off to me. I could have handled it the next day, or Coach Todd Kaler at that time could have taken care of it. He was our assistant coach at the time. But no, what does Coach do? Just like true Thorson fashion, he stands up, dusts himself off, goes home, takes a shower, gets ready for work, and comes out to work. And puts makeup on him, and not saying that's a typical day. We didn't? All right, okay. Do you think it was the makeup? Maybe those words finally got to you, Anna. But I would have went to the dentist. I don't know, that would have been my first thought. That just shows his true determination and his craft of the sport. He's not going to give up, and he's still going to be there no matter what. So between all of the cracks about that's what I took away, that no matter what, he was going to be there. My last story, this was new. It was my first year coaching. We were down in Rapid City, South Dakota, and our men had never won an outdoor conference championship. And we were down there, and it was maybe 60 degrees, 70 degrees that day. But as the meet went along, we always, took a look at points, see how we do for the meet coming in. I think we projected ourselves to maybe take first or second. Women, of course, first, but you weren't there at that time. But so we projected we'd fall somewhere in their top three for sure. Us, Black Hills State, and Jamestown, of course. And as the meet went along, we started seeing that as the points, tallied up, that we really had a chance. And the 4x4 came up, obviously the best event in track, besides high jump. So, but I think, and I may be wrong, all we had to do was place third in the 4x4. And we won the 4x4 by several seconds. It wasn't even close. We won. And the javelin was still going on. And we had 3 athletes still in the javelin: Brad Cook, Brock Okrup, Tom Kirchhoffner. So it was, pole vault's usually last. I know that. But javelin, and they're usually throwing off in some other state. They're usually off up on some hill by themselves, but they're right there in the middle of the track. And which was really cool, both the men's and the women's teams all came over there, and they gathered around the javelin area, which I can't even imagine the adrenaline rush for those athletes as they're throwing. But even though we took third, there was Dickinson State and Jamestown throwers that we had to beat in that javelin. So we knew if they placed high enough, we were going to win it. Well, needless to say, that adrenaline rush paid off. And I think Brad, I don't know, maybe we placed all 3 in the top 3. Yeah, okay, so we won. Well, during this time, myself, Brandon Ralph, Coach Todd Kaler, we're sitting there, well, this is the first outdoor championship. What do we need to do to Coach Thorson? So, question for you guys, what do they typically do in football? Gatorade, yep. Do you think they have that at track? Okay, yeah. May have mayonnaise, lunch meat. So we're sitting there trying to think of something to do. So we come up with this plan, and as we come up with the plan, we're wondering, okay, so if we follow through with this, first, are we going to have a job tomorrow? Are we going to have a bus ride back to Bismarck? And so we're taking our team picture at the end of the track. And right as soon as the team picture was over, myself, Brandon Ralph, and a few others, I can't remember who the other ones were, Ralph, but we picked Thorson up. What's at the very end of the track in outdoor? Steeple pit. Was that water cold, Thorson? So we threw him right into the water pit. And for some reason, he didn't even fight it. Maybe it was because of you, Ralph. That might have been it. But we didn't even know if he had to change of clothes. But he got out of the pit. He loved it. He was laughing, having a good, probably the only time you see him laugh. Having a great time. So luckily we got a bus ride home. We still had our jobs the next day. So that was our first outdoor championship, and that's our version of the Gatorade. So But outside of that, that's my last story. And again, thank you, Coach, for everything that you've taught us, everything you've taught myself. I am amazed that you even let this happen. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Adam. I like those workouts where you guys had the dunk contests. But did you ever break a backboard?
I did not know. Look how big I am.
I know someone who did. I'll give you a hint. He's the school record holder in the triple jump. That's a good story for later. All right, our next roaster, Rob Brandt from Bismarck. He graduated in 2002. He's a 12-time All-Conference, 2-time All-American, team captain, and according to him, an all-around good guy. Rob?
You know, when I got the call to do the roast, I thought, why me? I would like the national champions to just raise their arms in this room. Jamie, don't be shy. 12 of them, and you got me up here? Thanks, Coach, I appreciate that. Maybe it's because I went to Cathedral and St. Mary's and University of Mary. So maybe thank you, Sister Thomas and Monsignor Shea. There's 3 things I want to talk about tonight. First is idols, legend, and legacy. The first thing is idols. I had no plans to go to University of Mary. I thought, I'm going to go to the Naval Academy, and I'm going to go and do big things in this world. Unfortunately for me, I broke my leg my senior year. That fell through. So I decided I'm going to go where my idol, Joe Cook, decided to go to school. Joe Cook decided to come here tonight. Joe Cook took me out to dinner, and I was like, sold. I'm going to Mary. And around this room, when you literally have the best people in the nation in this room tonight. When we were competing at an NAI level, some people look down on that because it's Division II, Division I. Oh no. There's people from other people in the world coming to NIA to compete because there's no age restriction, there's no drug testing. So we decided to light them up at nationals. A couple of kids from North Dakota and Montana, and we light them up. So NIA was legitimate back in the day, as far as I'm concerned. Uphill both ways, right, Coach? In the snow, right? When we want to talk about a legend, the legend started for the men's team my sophomore year. Our coach decided to leave us mid-season. In his mind, got a better job offer, which unfortunately for him that's his call. But for us, we had an opportunity to get you, Coach. And that fateful night, I decided to call an all-team men's meeting, mandatory meeting. Brought him into the room and said, we have a couple choices here, fellas. We can allow the university to go out and hire a new coach. We can have one of our assistants step up and be our coach. Or if you want to look at the women's team, who's been lighting up the nation for years, why don't we bring that success to the men's team? So every single man on the men's team signed our petition. This is before you even knew about it, Coach. I called Sister Thomas Welder's office and asked for a meeting, and her secretary said, well, what is the meeting about, Mr. Brandt? And I said, well, it's about track and field. Our coach left us, and I'd like to bring you some options for our new coach. I said, okay, your meeting's at 9 o'clock in the morning, Wednesday morning. All right, I'll be there. So I show up, and all nervous, sitting waiting for Sister Thomas, and I step in, and she said, Mr. Brandt, how's your mother, Carol? My mom had just graduated 2 years prior. I was like, how do you know my mom? And so, well, she's really good. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. And I brought this petition before all of our men's team, and we'd really like Coach Thorson to be our coach. And she said, well, how does he feel about that? I said, well, Sister Thomas, he doesn't know yet. However, I would like to tell you all the reasons on the stage, all the reasons in this room, why we want him and the men's team to coach us and bring us to success. And we chatted for a while and left the meeting. I think by that Friday, you were our head coach, Coach Thorson, and we're really thankful, first of all, for your secretary allowing me to have a meeting with you. And you listening to us and really listening to the success that Coach Thorson brought to the women. We knew you'd bring to us because you demanded respect. And you've heard the stories. Most of them we can't tell. However, you demanded respect, and you earned our respect. When we were freshmen, you had it. When we were seniors, we really regarded you as a leader. And a lot of that is carried over to our lives. Most of us have gone out into our communities, whether we're in, I'm not sure how far east we are, but I know Joe in Texas, and as far west as California. Most of us have at least helped coach, or we're head coaches for teams within our communities. And that is directly related to your legacy. So I've established idols. Joe Cook, thank you for coming tonight. Legend, you were a legend before you were a coach, now you were a coach. And our legacy. So the legacy that you've led has been remarkable. And I had asked Kevin Becker, and Kevin, thank you for putting this on tonight. What a wonderful event. Thank you so much. I asked him to put a video of my daughter who was riding in the truck with me after her first track meet. She's 4. And she's got this little medal on. She's proud, sitting in the back seat. And I go, Ava, what are you doing? She's like, I'm playing with my medal. And I go, what'd you get a medal for? Because I winned. I'm like, you win? She's like, yeah, when you go to a track meet and you win, you get a medal, Dad. I almost cried that day. Right here. Because she's so proud of her little medal, and that is literally hanging in our living room to this day, because she's proud of her accomplishment. And the accomplishments that you passed along to us through your success of coaching and leadership has carried on to beyond the University of Mary. We planted our roots here, but that tree has grown multi-state. I don't know if it's outside of the States. I know you've had some Jamaicans since my time, so potentially. There we go. We got one still. There we go.
Marcia?
Yeah. So let's call it worldwide. You're growing track and field everywhere. And it's not just track and field, but it's success and leadership. I mean, the things that we've been able to accomplish as a university. When I came out here tonight, I hadn't been here for 15 years. The remarkable build-out of this university, and now the sun's set, the Missouri is flowing, there's geese flying, the sun's setting, it's beautiful. Who doesn't come here, whether you compete or you're in academics? You're crazy. This is a beautiful campus. Coach Newell will, maybe he's getting a beer, I guess. Oh, he's in the back. I didn't mean to call you out in front of your boss. I'll get you one later. I got you. For those students out there watching online who may or may not consider University of Mary, we've had people go from Kansas and Illinois. We've had people come from Division I come back to University of Mary and come and bring that success here. It is a wonderful university, and Coach Thorson has started that legacy, and I know Tony's going to finish it, so remember, go Big Orange.
Thank you, Rob. Our next roaster, Tony Wood from McCall, Idaho. He graduated in 2008. His senior year, he was a part of the men's 2008 NCAA NISC Indoor Conference Champion team. This was also the same year that Coach Thorson was named Indoor Coach of the Year. He holds the University of Mary Indoor 600-meter record. He broke the conference record in 2008, but it has since been broken. He was a member of the UMary Outdoor 4x8 relay team, and that currently holds both UMary's record and the conference record as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Wood.
Well, thank you. First of all, your speech explains a lot, because we always knew that Thorson liked the women's team better. We didn't realize that the men's team was rather an opportunity. It was just an obligation. But we knew the athletes were better looking, but we did know it was just because they had a better record than we did. So, you know, getting a call and asked to be speaking on behalf of Coach Thorson and titling it a roast rose my blood pressure for about 3, 4, 5 weeks. Until finally I took it upon myself and I got a hold of Kevin. I said, I want to talk to the other people who are doing this roast, because I've seen some roasts and I don't think I'm going to do that. So a lot of concern went into that phone call. But some things that I want to share that hopefully a little bit funny to start with. I've got a few props. It was really interesting getting to listen to my previous athletes. Elder, just a little bit.
Whoa!
So, I had no idea about the hamburger. The buffet, we did the buffet a little bit. For us, every time when we got on the track bus after the meet, there was a stack of 60 Papa John's pizzas in the bus. Okay? If I never smell Papa John's again, 2 things: if I never eat Papa John's, and if I never step on a Greyhound bus, life will be fine.
Cindy, you started that, didn't you? Yes, she did. I started it, and then Thorson ordered like 50 wherever he went, and then they opened a franchise in Bismarck.
Well, they had somebody to support them. One other prop, I hope that, I kind of expect all athletes to recognize these, except I've jazzed them up a little bit. Go Big Orange. Ready? And it always just kind of ticked us off. Why did he say ready? He didn't care. Are you ready? No, coach. Go! What was the point of ready? That was just to make us feel good before you crushed us. And some of those things lead to, you've heard a lot of discussion about freshmen just being terrified of this old grump. But then if you made it through the first year, I think that was his way of weaning out the weak. And we've heard a lot of discussion on, brash language, hard-nosed approaches, but it was really, Coach, if you worked hard, he'd invest in you. If you believe in yourself, if you'd show up every day like he was leading you to do and put in the time, and he knew that you would find success. But some things that led to that freshman fear were, I might have to get some notes, but some of the statements, there were great speeches. I remember getting ready for some of our first outdoor meets. Coach would talk about how crappy the weather was going to be, how we needed to be prepared, and he'd go on and on and on. And then he'd say, my wife says I'm a pessimist. Bull, I'm a realist. He just told it how it was. And then, to top it off, the first time you go to a meet, okay, if you happen to be, we'd all come off the bus, 11:30 at night, we made it as far as we could make it, we're all waiting for our cards for our hotel room. And Coach Thorson, 135 pounds of lean muscle, pulls out a wad of cash to pay the bill. Like, is he a drug dealer? I mean, I'm scared of getting jumped just for being with him. We've stayed at some sketchy places, but Thorson had his wad of cash. But I always knew that he was a holy man. How did I know that, you might ask? Because every time I did something stupid, he'd say a prayer. First word out of his mouth was, Jesus. But just let that sink in. On a more serious note.
The second word after Jesus.
No, we don't do that. So, on a more serious note, just what an incredible legacy, Coach. We can read the All-Americans, we can read the titles, we can read their records. Such a small percentage of the lives that you impacted every day. And one of the beautiful things about track and field, and I enjoyed sports, are the fondest parts of my young adult life and childhood. The beautiful thing about track and field is that the person who finishes last still has a tool to measure their own improvement. There's a time, there's a height, there's a distance. And the right coach can use that as such a tool to instill in young people their ability to grow through hard work, perseverance, attitude. And I just can't imagine, I thought about trying to come up with the numbers of how many people you coached in your career, but I'm from Idaho and we don't add and count in that well. But in all seriousness, Coach, the number of lives is incredible. And I just take myself, for instance, I was never going to leave the state of Idaho. I saw the world. I felt like the world. Saw a lot of the United States, might have been from bus window. I've never seen that. A lot of incredible things in my life started with the opportunity to come to University of Mary to be an athlete. I never thought I was good enough to be an athlete. And I think there are many people in that boat, and you taught us to work hard, and most of all, you taught us to believe in ourselves, and you showed us that we need to give back. And one of the other things that, we have a lot of thank yous to Coach, but one thing I really want to make a point of tonight as well is that thank you to your family. There were a lot of weekends, nights, some holidays that we had him. And when we had him, you didn't. But I hope that you see by this room, which is just a small, small fraction of the impact that your father had in his career. Something to be very proud of. So, with that, Coach, we'd like to give you a little token of our appreciation. And go Big Orange. Here's this too, but I'm not going to pizza with you.
All right, we're going to ad lib here. The teleprompter's broke. The scripts are gone. We're going to do something out of the ordinary here. Rob, take it away.
You want to grab it for me, Adam, please? So our senior year was the first year that we had an indoor track to actually train on, and it was a 180-meter track, which is great. However, before that, somebody had to shovel the outdoor track so we could practice. So Coach Thorson used to be out there every day, shoveling off the track. 2 lanes, 150 meters. Get your intervals done, boys and girls. So we decided to bring a shovel in here tonight for you, Coach Thorson. We'll have it up and probably in the back for everybody to sign who was younger than or older than our senior year, because everybody else got soft after my senior year. I got to say, Coach, when we were in Abbotsford, British Columbia, and it started raining, we were competing against the Olympic team from Ivory Coast, Jamaica, Bahamas. Those boys were fast. And a couple of boys from North Dakota and Montana, and we're like, we're going to light them up. It's raining. We're at home. We've been shoveling for months, boys. This is warm. And we sure did. And Coach, thank you for everything you've done for us. And I encourage all the athletes, if you get a chance, sign that shovel. This is something special for Coach Thorson and Monsignor Shea and Sister Thomas and Coach Newell. Thank you for everything you've done so far. And we know that the university is in good hands with you. And we know that going forward, you'll really appreciate everything that we've done. And everybody that's here, we've got an endowment started for Coach Thorson. And I encourage you to give to that. Kevin didn't ask me to say that, but I feel impelled to say so because everybody here probably got some money to go to school for track and field, and we need to pass that legacy along so that other kids can go to school, whether they're impoverished or whatever the case is. They need to have that same experience, and Coach Newell, you need to get a shovel by.
That's well said, Rob. Thank you. And I agree wholeheartedly with the soft comment. All right, now it's time to have Mike come up. It's been a great night, and we're almost done, so just be patient. We're going to have Mike come up. He's going to say some words. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to introduce Coach Mike Thorson.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Most of you know that you're aware that I'm not much for talking, so I'm going to be brief. But I do have my notes. I never go any place without them. But seriously, tonight brings back many, many wonderful memories that have been achieved over, like they said, the last 25 years. The memories, the experiences truly have been incredible, just amazing. And I don't know any other way to describe it. You know, I'm forever grateful to my family, my coaches, administrators, but most importantly, the athletes, because they allowed me to follow a passion for the last 25 years, helped me live out a dream that started way back in 7th grade when I decided that I wanted to be a track field coach. You know, very, very few people get to live a dream, and even fewer get to live out a passion and have somebody pay them to do it. Very few. And I hope in some way that I've been able to give back to the many, many athletes that have journeyed through our program. You know, I've used a word tonight that I've developed a strong dislike for, and that's the word I. And that goes back to Al Bortke, our legendary athletic director, basketball coach. He informed me very early on when I arrived on this campus that I wasn't the word that we used at the University of Mary. He said, your program is about, one, this university, and most importantly, it's about student athletes. He said, I don't care how many Coach of the Year awards you have on the wall. It's about the student athlete. And that's the way we always try to conduct our program, with that student athlete first. But I think in this case tonight, he would approve of the use of the word I. Because I really believe, and I may be one of the few people remaining that believe this, that athletics has tremendous, tremendous value. And I don't use the word tremendous lightly. I really believe athletics prepare you for life. And not only prepare you for life, but prepare you to win in life, to be successful. No moment, no stage is going to be too big for you if you have the proper preparation. And athletics will do that. And I really believe that. So I do hope, in some small way, that our program, and not necessarily me, has provided that for our athletes. Now, I know many people felt that we put too much emphasis on winning. Winning conference championships, winning national championships. And I would somewhat agree with that, now that I can step back and reflect a little bit. The obsession with success and winning probably was a little over the top at times. Probably wasn't healthy. Ultimately led me to step away from a position that I loved dearly because I'd become my own worst enemy and I couldn't meet my own expectations or live up to my own expectations. Athletics, as his life, is very imperfect. And my wife always tells me that I always expect things to turn out perfect. And then I'm so disappointed when they don't. And she's right. I understand that much better now that I've had a chance to step back, take a look at myself a little bit. But I would never, never apologize for striving to win, for striving to be successful, for striving for excellence. Because I really think that striving in athletics prepares you to win in a much, much larger battle, and that's life. I really believe that. There are two other things that I hope our program was able to impart to the athletes in our program. One, that life is about relationships. The late Dr. Ralph Dunnigan, my wife's father, told me once as we worked on one of our many lake projects, twilight of his life, that relationships above anything else, that should be your prized possession. And I didn't believe it at the time, but I do now. I see he was 100% correct. He would say life is all about relationships and it's about family. And he was dead on. Secondly, I hope we could impart to our athletes that every day, as my father told me many, many times, is an opportunity to work hard, to work your butt off, and to get better. And I've told my own kids that, and countless others. There is no substitute for hard work. No substitute. But to close, again, I truly thank all of you for allowing me to live out a dream. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules, your busy lives, to be here tonight. It means a great, great deal to me. It means a great deal to our family. I'm obviously very, very proud of what our program could accomplish, of our success, but more importantly, I'm proudest of the fact that the young men and women who left our program and what they became and the standards that they set for themselves in succeeding in the game of life. It's truly been a tremendous honor, tremendous privilege to be a servant leader and to serve as the track and field coach and the cross-country coach at the University of Mary. Thank you. I got one more thing. You know, if I thanked everybody here that needed to be thanked, we'd be here till Sunday. So I got to go to the bathroom, so I'm not going to do that. But seriously, there's one man that I need to thank, that you need to thank, if you are grateful that I was at this university. It's emotional for me, I'm sorry. But I wouldn't be here. But a guy back in 1990 took a chance on me and brought me to the University of North Dakota and gave me a shot. He said, here's some hurdlers. They were great hurdlers. He trusted me. As they say, the rest was history. I want him to stand up. Coach Michael Grandel, longtime coach of the University of North Dakota. Thank you very much, Coach. Thank you much.
Oh, thank you, Coach Thorson. That was really wonderful. Thank you. We've got Cindy's going to come back up here now, and she's got a special presentation. Cindy?
Oh, okay, thanks, Coach. You made me cry before, but it wasn't from that. When we were trying to think of a serious gift beyond the shovel, and many of you know, again, how many people lived in the apartments back in the day before indoor facilities. But you looked out of those apartment windows or the dorms to see if lane 1 and 2 were shoveled. And you knew it was time to go to work. And we did. But we were really trying to think of something that would be special, and I think you just summed it up when you talked about it is about relationships. And I think that's where I get emotional, is my best friend to this day was who I met here at University of Mary. Mandy and I have ran together for years. It is about the people, not only you, but also about the people that we ran with. And so what we wanted to do was get you something that documents those relationships, those memories, because we knew you didn't need one. You got plenty of hardware back there. So we wanted to present this book to you. Not today, it's going to stay till Sunday. We're going to keep it out here. It'll be at the track meet tomorrow, at all the events. If anyone online still has a story or a word of thanks or something that they want to include to Coach, we'd like to capture all of those memories, all those special words and thanks. So please, whether you're a former athlete, alumni, part of the university, to take a second and sign something off to Coach, and then we'll present him this book at the end of the weekend to say thank you for everything that you've done for us and for helping us create those relationships that we will always take with us.
Thank you, Cindy. Well, the night's coming to an end, but the weekend is not even close to being done. As we all know, thanks to Mother Nature, the track meet's not going to happen tomorrow. But Coach Newell and the crew is going to be at the new field house. The Alborky Memorial track meet, of course, canceled. The field house, though, bring everybody on up to the field house, alumni, families, fans. Enjoy an inter-squad competition between the orange and the blue. We'll be awarding the Alborky Service Award as well, and we look forward to having all of you sharing in that special tribute. The schedule tomorrow, 11 o'clock, the field events get underway. At 11:30, the Alborky Service Award ceremony. About 10 to the hour, the national anthem, and then at noon, the running events will start. The state-of-the-art dining facility located right down the hallway, the Crow's Nest, open 24/7. Let's give a shout out to the university dining crew here tonight too. Great meal. The bookstore will be open as well, starting at noon to 5. I know Joe is already stocked up on all the Marauder gear. He needed to refresh his stock. 4 o'clock after the competition ends, or around 4 o'clock, the Track and Field Alumni Social will be at Bruno's Pizza, thanks to Brandt and Ralph. That's located on South 9th Street and Front Avenue. No Papa John's. It's located on South 9th and Front Avenue, right before you go underneath the train tracks. Look to your right. It's going to be a lot of fun, so make sure you all come out to that as well. On Sunday, a celebration with the Sisters of the Annunciation Monastery. For those of you that signed up for this wonderful time of reflection with our Benedictine Sisters of the Annunciation Monastery, there will be Mass at 11 on Sunday. You and your family are invited out to come pray with the sisters and celebrate a wonderful weekend back on campus. Check out all the new things here. At noon, there will be a brunch. You can share in a meal with the sisters as they meet your family, catch up on your life, and share your time here at the University of Mary with them. And I'd like to recognize any of the sisters who are in the room tonight joining us here for this wonderful celebration. If you could please stand. Thank you so much for your dedication and devotion to Mary College and the University of Mary, because without you, we wouldn't be here. Thank you so much. Now, we told you earlier there were going to be a few surprises and a lot of fun. I hope you all had some fun. The fun is going to continue tonight. That I'm not worried about. So right now, you got a little ticket. I want to tell you about this. You got a little ticket for those of you alumni that came in. Don't lose that ticket. As you leave, you're going to pick up a special Pilsner glass. Mandy and Cindy and I have seen these. They're really cool. It's got Mike's resume on the back, and it kind of talks about tonight and just the great man that he is. So don't forget about that. Centerpieces, really cool centerpieces on your tables. On the program card, in the corner, some of them have a little Marauder logo. So whoever has that gets to keep the centerpiece for your table and take that home. All right. This wraps up our evening. Stick around, enjoy everybody's company. Again, the bar is open. And please be safe on your travels home. And thank you once again to the staff here at the University of Mary. Sister Thomas. Oh, yes. Thank you, sister. We're going to end the night with a prayer, so hold on just a moment. Father Shea, will you please come up and lead us in our evening prayer?
Coach Thorson, I was 10 years old when you started coaching here at UMary. That makes me feel so young. But what's young here is your legacy. This, what you see here tonight, is just a beginning. And so thank you on behalf of everyone here. Let's bow our heads in prayer. God, our Father, we give you thanks this evening for the gift of joy, which you've given to us in abundance. We offer you thanksgiving for the life and legacy of Coach Thorson, for the lives he's impacted through his years of dedication and service, and for the excellence he's inspired in so many student athletes through the years. We ask for your continued blessings on Coach Thorson and his family. May they know of our deep gratitude, Lord, and your faithful care. And may we continue, each of us, to run while we have the light of life for the praise and glory of your name. We ask all of this in the resurrected Christ our Lord. Amen. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Hope you had a great night, and enjoy the rest of it. Thank you.